What is up, everyone? Sean here, and today in this Hawk Talks video, with the green screen and everything, I want to talk about this certain topic that's been going around for, I guess a good amount of years now, especially nowadays with graphics just really being pushed more and more and more, I guess, with these newer consoles and all that, and I know that there's always this argument between, oh, what's more important, graphics or gameplay or whatever. Even till to this day. So I did, still, I'd like to express my opinion about it, and also wanted to have the excuse of using the Elgato green screen once again, but I guess it's kind of time to express how I really feel about that. And there's been certain games that really kind of prove something about what I think about this argument, or the argument between graphics versus gameplay. Obviously, let's just start with graphics. Why that's important? Well, obviously, humans are reliant on their sight. The humans are built to kind of do things based off what they see. A long time in the past, they just absolutely use everything with their eyes to find whatever prey or hunting and stuff like that, to see their group, their pack, their family, their whatever. Not really so much with their nose or ears or anything like that, and because of that, over the years, we've come to kind of try to take advantage of that with some marketing when it comes to trying to sell a product, since that's what we do, pretty much. But games are no exception. Movies, same as well. They try to appeal to us with trailers and these graphics or styles and art direction, whatever. They really try to push those visual aspects of whatever media they want to, take a gander at, whether it's movies, games, whatever. But in this case, games are definitely kind of in that zone, especially with technology just updating every minute, pretty much, as I talk. And because of that, graphics are just improving more and more in a way. But graphics are definitely important, just to be able to appeal the visual aspects of what people look forward to, what people look for games, and stuff like that. And I think graphics are an important part because they make things look cool. It's important as well to be able to show your actions as being cool, appealing, stylish, stuff like that. And especially when it comes to worlds that we'll never likely ever see, you want to be able to make it real as much as you can, just visually appealing, and really draw us in on those aspects. And it's very important that way too. And that's how games kind of sell. And look how how much work is put into the cover art for a lot of games too. The same exact things for CDs. Music CDs do the same exact thing. Try to have that different kind of cover art to stick out for the crowd to buy them or whatever. Why they should be bought instead of this album or whatever. Games definitely do that too with the cover art and everything. So a little different with graphics, but it's the same principle. It just really they try to visually appeal to the audience that way. So I think that's why graphics are definitely important that way too, just to making it appealing, making your actions very appealing, bringing the world to life pretty much, and the characters and all the other elements in games just really kind of help bring it together and pretty much kind of make that vision kind of almost come to life in a way. And now it's, you know, kind of in your control or in your hands, be able to control that. So that's, you know, being able to control those kinds of visually appealing things is a cool thing, in a way. So graphics are important that way, but gameplay is just as important too, because, well, what makes it a game? Gameplay. You know, that's why a lot of people kind of counter argue with graphics. You know, like what is the point if the game isn't fun? And understandably so. If the gameplay isn't there, you know, why should I buy this game? And that's kind of a tricky thing about that too. You know, graphics is one thing, but gameplay is another thing as well when it comes to what makes a good game. And gameplay is another thing to really stand out for itself as well from the rest of the library of games that the market has to offer. Now, of course, you know, a lot of games play similarly or the same, but what's important is that it controls great. The controls are tight. You know, makes things feel good to control the character, to attack, shoot, jumping on platforms, or even just as much as, you know, clicking on to the next dialogue box or something. I don't know, or clicking to the menu or something. Those things are definitely important as well. That's definitely the other half of the game. Again, you know, that gameplay is definitely as important as, you know, graphics as well. But however, people try to argue that one thing is definitely important over the other. But in my opinion, because of these things that I've come to see with both graphics and gameplay, I think none of them really best over the other. They shouldn't. I think they should really come together, in my opinion. You know, gameplay, if you know, the gameplay is cool, or not cool, good, but the graphics aren't there to really back it up, you know. Doesn't really seem cool, you know, really appealing or stylish or whatever. If people say that gameplay is more important than graphics, people then shouldn't have the problem with just controlling these generic models or whatever. And this is definitely important, or definitely a point in fighting games, because it's about both of those things. The feel of the game is important, but being able to look cool is also another thing. Fighting games are definitely all about the visual appeal. If you're just using generic 3D models to fight each other and something like that, even if with the gameplay is good, and it's not gonna sell, because again, people are just so visual, like they rely on sight, and we just have this, you know, behavior about things looking cool and stuff like that, and getting excited about it. Other games are just as, you know, apparent as well, you know, besides fighting games. But, you know, definitely fighting games are, you know, it's definitely that kind of thing where gameplay and graphics are absolutely important to make it appealing and trying to be able to sell well enough to satisfy the investors and all that stuff. Same thing goes with platformers. Same thing can be said for the shooting games as well. And I'm not talking about just graphical fidelity, of course. I'm also talking about art direction. That's whole another thing too, on its own. But basically, it's gotta look appealing, like colorful, just visually, just different. Just something that really identifies itself as, you know, this game. Otherwise, you have this. If you have the same I don't know, let's say brown and gray or kind of greenish palette, like Call of Duty, for example. If it's like that, then it looks pretty washed out, mundane, for a lot of the titles anyway, or kind of gray, or sometimes a little bit of blue. Not gonna, you know, sell too well if they keep doing that. But you have games like Mario, Sonic, you know, back in the day, Pac-Man or something like that. Look at those colors. They're very bright. They're very obvious. You know, Mario has the red, the blue overalls. Sonic has the blue fur, the green eyes, red shoes. You know, all those things. Like those things are very important as well. That kind of goes along with the graphics. You know, all that is just to play. You know, to be visual appeal. That's all important as much as the gameplay. And gameplay is also important because the game's gonna feel good to play. You know, right? You know what I mean? One great example of, let's say, you know, a game with great gameplay but with pretty mediocre graphics that didn't sell well is Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Take a look at that. Graphically, it's not the most appealing to look at. Menu and everything looks pretty, you know, subpar. Definitely could have used some more work to it, but the gameplay is fun. It's absolutely fun. It's absolutely great to kind of get your hands into, but it doesn't have that visual backup to really support it. And because of that, along with the, you know, pretty mediocre story, or just straight up bad in my opinion, but nothing really much else to kind of back it up, especially with the features and all that stuff, like arcade mode and you know, or just a good story mode, or you know, cinematic endings and stuff like that. That's kind of a different thing, but because of other factors and stuff like that, most importantly though, the graphics didn't sell well. It definitely did not sell well, despite it, you know, gameplay being good. But now let's take it to a different direction, and let's take a look at the game that has good graphics, but gameplay isn't so much there. One game that kind of comes to mind really is Order 1886. If anyone remembers that title, which was a launch title for the PS4, I believe, and it is kind of beautiful to look at. You know, very real. The graphic fidelity is there. There's some colors that kind of appeals. The lighting and everything looks beautiful is in a more technical aspect, but gameplay not really all much there. Just looking at it, it just looked very generic. Doesn't really look much else. Doesn't look like there's not much else to it. Nothing really much to talk about. That's how kind of bad in a way the gameplay was. So if you don't have the gameplay to really excite people either, your game is not going to sell too well either way. Although, yeah, maybe there's going to be maybe a short surge of sales, but it's just going to dwindle down really fast once people kind of find out how the gameplay really is. So in ways, it's kind of the same. If your gameplay isn't good, your game is not going to sell well. But if your graphics aren't there either, it's not going to sell too well either. But there are great examples that do both really. I think let's just say Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey. Look at those games. Both gameplay and the graphics look very appealing in their own right. Also, let's take it to another kind of different kind of graphics and gameplay and stuff like that. Grand Theft Auto 5. That by comparison to its predecessors, that game looks beautiful. It's still, it could still use some work. It is kind of aging a little bit But if you compare it, you do grow to appreciate how much of a jump and improvement it made from Grand Theft Auto 4, or of course all the other Grand Theft Auto games. Grand Theft Auto 5 definitely revolutionized its visual appeal, and the gameplay is kind of still there. It's still fun to play, especially with the driving and stuff like that, the story mode, and just overall, the overall game is it was really fun because of, well, it did the gameplay and the graphics kind of right. Now, of course, there's that whole discussion about Marvel's Capcom Infinite not being an Evo and stuff like that. It kind of shows, yeah, definitely that graphics are just as important as gameplay as well. If the gameplay is fun but the graphics aren't there, no one's gonna watch it. No one wants to watch it. But there's a whole little bit of a controversy going on because of how many people actually entered for Winter Brawl when it comes to Marvel Capcom Infinite, which maybe I may make a video about that, but it's a whole different topic. But point being here, back on the actual topic at hand, gameplay, graphics are absolutely important, and they don't really best each other one over the other. In my opinion, I think they shouldn't. I think they should really just complement each other. The gameplay, it should be there to be fun, of course, but the graphic fidelity and also style and direction, art direction should also be there as well to really make it come to life in a way, to really make a identity for the game. It's important for games like that to be remembered that way because of how fun it is to play, but how appealing it is to look at. Those things are so important that I really don't see why graphics should be prioritized over gameplay, or gameplay should be prioritized over graphics. Both those things are so important, and that's just how I see it overall. So that's pretty much it on my opinion when it comes to graphics versus gameplay. I think they're both important. Just take a look at all the hit franchises and stuff like that have been really popular as of late. Overwatch that came out a couple of years ago. You want to look at all the later titles too, like Persona, Super Mario Odyssey. Look at Breath of the Wild, or even Log Horizon, Monster Hunter World. Just take a look at those things and kind of analyze how those games are, how they performed, and how much people love them, something like that, and why. So overall, that's pretty much it for graphics versus gameplay. I think they're both important, and both of those things should not be neglected over the other. I think the dev teams should really pay attention to both of those things, really make sure that those two are on top, and I guess maybe story second or something like that. I don't know. Maybe I'll make a big video about that when it comes to story for games. But anyways, it's pretty much it for this video. If you have any comments about graphics and gameplay, what do you guys think about that? Leave it down below. I'll love to absolutely check them out. I'm always open to different opinions. It's definitely makes it all the more interesting. So I'll definitely check those out, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe as it helps out the channel, and I highly appreciate that. So that'll be it for the Hawke Talks on graphics versus gameplay. Thank you guys so much. As always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao now.